Hey, here we are, Monday. Addiction recovery, my favorite word, hope, and resources. I'm here with my buddy. I just met him today, but I've heard a lot of good about him. Ben Martinez. How you doing, Ben?
Oh, I'm doing good. How are you, Heston?
Super duper. We're freestyling today. He said I might ask you some questions about you because I don't know you very good, so we're gonna get to know each other.
I know. We're meeting each other on the air. This is kind of cool, man. This is the first time I've ever met anyone on air.
Right, we're just brainstorming.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ben, go into a little bit about, I don't care how long, wherever you want to go. Tell a little bit about yourself, and so we get to know you a little bit.
All right. Well, I'm a St. George native. So native, I was born in California and moved here when I was a kid. I don't know.
When there was like 2 dogs and 1 horse?
Yeah, man. Like, this town has grown so much since I moved here. Like the towns were actually separated back then, and now they all just go together. But
right.
yeah, so I grew up here. I don't know. I went to the school here, elementary, middle, high school. Started getting involved with drugs and alcohol about like 13 or so. Gradually moved my way up. By 16, I was a full-blown heroin addict and, shooting up every day. And then, when I was 17, I entered my first, I guess you would call it, treatment program. I don't know what you'd call it, but, my parents found out, and that was my first attempt at trying, get clean, get in recovery, whatever you want to call it. I didn't want to do it at the time.
Yeah, that's the key.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to, or was you forced?
No, I definitely didn't want to. I mean, I was 17, man. I was just having a good time.
Sure. And you don't even really know who you are, especially when you start that young. Like I always say, when I quit my addiction, I was 39 years old. And I'd always say by the time I was 40, I learned the tools and I learned how to do everything. And I traced it back to about 13, 12 years old I started, or 14 or so.
Right.
But I think you stop your maturity at that level. So I was 39, 40 years old, acting like a 14-year-old in many ways, and outbursts and reactions.
Dude,
it was awful.
Yeah, I'm 27, 28. I still have the maturity level of like a 14-year-old. Like,
yeah,
I've grown like a little bit.
I think you've grown more than that. But yeah, I think that's where we do get stunted at where we started at one point.
Yeah, so, yeah, like you said, man, I didn't really want to do it, but that was my first, like, I guess, introduction into, like, recovery, I guess. But yeah, I didn't want to do it. And I mean, trouble with the law, just stupid stuff, like minor consumption, possession, all this. And, that just, I don't know, it seemed normal. Even like at 17, it seemed normal, especially among the people I was hanging out with, to, do drugs, get in trouble with the law.
I was going to ask you that, Ben. What made you start?
It's kind of the chicken and the egg question. I don't really
know.
Peer
pressure, friends,
peer pressure.
Was it acceptance? The crowd that you joined?
Oh yeah, man. Like, I've been after acceptance my whole life. Like, I'm full of fear, insecurity. Like,
join the club.
Yeah, like I just I want people to like me, but I intuitively think that they're not gonna like me, and so like I kind of push people away. Even to this day, I'll still do that from time to time. Actually, probably quite a bit. But like, I'll push people away because if, in my mind, they don't like me already, so I'm not going to like you or give you the chance to like me or get to know me.
Yeah, and they may not have even thought bad.
Oh, yeah. Most people don't even think about me. Like, I'm walking down the street, I'm thinking about how everyone's judging me, and meanwhile, the only one really judging anyone is me judging them.
Yeah, right.
And so, like, yeah, it's just like that acceptance piece. Like, I wanted friends. Like, I always felt left out. Like, I felt different. I'm sure, like, any addict or alcoholic, will say the same thing. It's just, I felt different. I just didn't feel accepted, or I felt like a black sheep, an outsider in my own family, in my own skin, and that was definitely me. And I don't know exactly where that comes from, because I have a great family, man. Right. My parents are still together. They just celebrated like 33 years of marriage last year, coming up on 34. Like, I have 2 brothers and a sister too that all grew up the same way and didn't turn out like me, and yet I'm like me.
That's all right, because you are you.
Yeah, exactly. But like, that's what I'm saying. I don't know where it comes from or what, but like, I wanted that acceptance. I wanted, to be liked. I wanted, to feel like I was a part of something, to fit in. Someone actually care about me, or and drugs and alcohol were a good way in for the
Let me ask you this, Ben. Did your brother or sister ever try drugs?
Yeah.
So that's I wanted to ask that. So yeah, so that to me it proves my point of not everyone's an addict.
Oh,
Some
yeah,
people
no.
can try it and be fine, but if you'll know you're an addict if you.
Yeah, no, it kind of makes me mad because like my sister, me and her are only like a year and a half apart, and so we grew up close together, and we're probably the closest in my family. But like in high school, like yeah, she drank like me and stuff. It was like I thought we'd probably be in rehab together one day or something, But like she got one DUI, pulled it together, and drinks normally now, and doesn't throw up or anything like we used to in high school. Get
Right.
blackout drunk and stuff like that. But like me, I just kept going and progressed, and it just it's so weird.
I
to
always
me.
think about what the ones that people don't understand that you'll never know you're an addict unless you try it.
Yeah.
Once you try it, you'll know, because if you want to do it again and again, and by the time, because the first bunch of times it's fun.
Oh yeah. Like we wouldn't do this if it wasn't fun at some point.
Right.
Like I mean, yeah, there's pain and misery that comes with it, but that's usually further down the line. Usually it's a lot of fun at first.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got acceptance. My friends like me. I thought I was funnier. Girls seemed to like me more. Like the world was open to me when I was drunk or high.
Yeah.
At first.
Probably because you were more outgoing too, because you felt comfortable. Like my wife Tammy always says, the drug gave her a voice.
Yeah.
It gave her a personality. It gave her a voice. But then after it took over her life, it actually took all that away.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like towards the end, and it didn't even take long to get to that point. Maybe a few years, and it was just like, all right, now I'm alone, just getting high in my parents' basement.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
it always ends up that way. Isolation. You're just now you're not having any friends.
Right. And even if people wanted me around, I didn't want to be around them. But more often than not, they didn't want me around.
Yeah. How many facilities did you go into?
So let's see. I did a number of outpatients and like some like drug and alcohol classes. Like Prime for Life or whatever. I think I took Prime for Life like probably 3 times or something.
What is Prime for Life?
It's a class that the state will sentence you to if you get in trouble with drugs or alcohol, usually for like your first DUI or like a possession. At least they used to.
Not drug court.
This was a while ago.
Okay.
So I don't know, and it probably depends on the possession. Like I mean, I got weed possession and minor consumptions, alcohol related. So the class is very like alcohol related, like teaching you how to drink like a normal person.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll never get there.
Yeah, exactly. Like even then, like I think I took it first when I was 16 or 17, and yeah, even the way they were describing how to drink normally, like no more than a couple, like 2 or 3 drinks, and like 1 drink an hour or something like that, no more than 6 drinks in a week. I was like, who drinks like that?
Who wants to?
Yeah, like what's
they're
the point?
not even gonna feel like anything.
Yeah, like that just never made sense to me. Even that young, I was just like, who is this for?
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely not for me. And so I didn't pay attention. And I mean, that was most of any of the classes or outpatients or doctors or therapists that I went to for a long time was I just didn't listen to them, and I wasn't honest with them. I mean, like, and even with not being honest with them when they do their evals and stuff, like I would leave a lot of stuff out and they'd still like recommend the max. I was like, man, I thought I was doing good. Like I was holding back a lot. You should really,
if you really knew.
You really knew. Yeah.
I think that's how we all are at first. We'll give out one thing to see how it reacts, how the world reacts to it, and then we'll give out a little bit more. And once we get the tools we need, all of a sudden we're spilling our guts. And like we talked about before the show, when I asked you, what do you want to talk about? You said, I'm an open book. And I said, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
But it didn't start that way. I wasn't an open book at first.
No.
It was when I felt I didn't have any more shame and guilt, got thousands of pounds of guilt and shame on my shoulders, that, hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
I've cleared all that. I don't owe anyone. I don't have to apologize to any more people. Unless I ran into someone that I couldn't find, But all that stuff and worries were out of my. No one could hold anything against me. In my past, someone could have said, "I know something about you that I'll tell somebody if you don't do this."
Right.
Then not no more. You don't know nothing, and you know what? What?
I mean, I probably still do. I mean, like I still run on fear and self-will all the time. Like, I mean, I flipped off a kid yesterday on the highway, you know.
I don't know.
So, like, I still act out of a lot of my character defects.
She's laughing because
like
I do that.
Yeah, like,
and
driving's the worst for me, man. Even over here, someone cut me off. I'm like, like...
It's reactions, and we got to work.
Yeah.
And I try to set myself up at the start of the day, but I tell you, sometimes within 20 minutes of driving down the road, it's gone.
It's over.
And I'm the same way. And one of these days, it's going to be my bishop or something. And I'm gonna like sorry.
Yeah,
he'd probably know it was me. Yeah. So, which one helped? Which facility helped you?
So, you know, I don't want to badmouth any of them.
Yeah,
and,
no.
You know, I think
you were ready.
they all have their merit and stuff. And I think ultimately they all kind of helped in planting seeds. But, you know, the one that did it for me was, a guy named Taz Decker, you know, with Renaissance Recovery here in town. One day, like, my mom had just finally had enough. Like, you know, I was 23, still living in, you know, my parents' basement, still getting high. Like, they took the door off my bedroom to try and keep me from shooting up and everything, and then nothing was working. And so finally she, you know, caught me one too many times and just said, you know, I'm done, I'm calling the cops. And then I, you know, in anger and reaction, I just took off for a while, for a few days. And then when I finally came back, she's like, well, it's either treatment or the cop will come and, you know, you go to jail. So I was like, all right, fine. So it was just, you know, another one of those things where it's like I didn't want to do it. I didn't, you know, necessarily want to get clean or anything like that. But it was just like, well, I don't want to go to jail and I'm already enough trouble with the law. Like, I don't want to get any more trouble. So I was just trying to save me some more pain, and ultimately I ended up going through a lot more pain, but it ended up being worth it in the end. You know, it was such a weird meeting, too, because this was when Taz was pretty new in town, and, like, it was just so weird, but...
Guy's like 6'20".
Oh, yeah.
And as nice
huge.
As a teddy bear as they get.
Yeah, he's a loving teddy bear, but he's intimidating when you first meet him, especially when, you know, you're high, still coming down and shaky, and you're trying to feed him a line full of crap, you know?
I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, but he was the first one that didn't really buy into my BS, and he was the first one to really show me some true unconditional love, you know, outside of my family.
You just needed to hear it from the right person that was for you.
Yeah.
For me, my dad had told me some things throughout my whole life, and I know what you're saying. You've said that to me 50 million times, and then I go to a meeting and someone else says the same thing, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Yeah.
How'd you come up with that, man? It's like, meanwhile, my dad's rolling his eyes in the back, like I've been telling you that your whole life. You just wouldn't listen.
Crazy. So you heard something you liked, and you got into recovery. How long are you?
So that ultimately wasn't my last time, but that started my current path. I relapsed a few times. Like, I'd get a week here, there, relapse, week here, there, day here, relapse, you know. But I actually started to try for myself. And I ultimately, my recovery, clean and sober day is Christmas Day 2014.
Bam.
And
that's beautiful.
Yeah. Trust me, I didn't want it to be Christmas Day. That's just what they told me in detox. Like, well, that's your day. I was like, well, it'll be easy to remember.
Yeah, I can't forget that one.
Yeah. Which, I mean, everything just coming together the way it did is so crazy to me because, like, yeah, like I said, I was in and out of Taz's program. Like, I was just, you know, trying to do this deal and couldn't really get it, man. And then went on a month runner or so and didn't talk to my family at all. And then finally one day when I called up my mom to come and pick me up because I didn't have a license, didn't have a ride, was out of money, was out of drugs, was out of everything.
That's what I did. I called my parents and said, Dad, come to Ogden and get me and my 7-year-old son. I'm ready.
That's exactly what I called. Like, I called up my mom and it's just like, will you come pick me up? Like, I was just so beaten down and defenseless. Like I'm pretty sure she could tell in my voice. But the crazy thing was that she was talking to a detox center without me knowing at all. She hadn't talked to me in a month, but she happened to be talking to a detox center and got me in the next morning. Like, I kicked on their couch for a night and then went to the detox center and, you know, spent a week in there. And then the week I got out was Christmas Day and got into inpatient rehab for about 100 days and went back to Taz. And I think I was his 3rd or 4th graduate there. And I've been sober ever since.
He's had
man.
many more after that.
Oh, he has.
He's a success now. Let me ask you, how's your relationship with your family now?
It's a lot better. I won't say it's like the best ever, and
Yeah.
recovery's giving me everything I've wanted back, you know, like
Yeah.
it ain't all, you know, just tacos and rainbows all day, but you know what? Things are better, you know, and I can be okay with that, you know, like my relationship with my sister is probably the best it's ever been, you know, actually cool story is when I was in detox, like she called me up like Christmas Eve and said, "Hey, what'd you get me?" I was like, "You know where I'm at, right? Like I didn't get you anything. I didn't get anyone anything. Like all my money went up my arm a long time ago.
I got
like,
you this, but I sold it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and so like I told her that I would give her my year chip in detox to hang up the phone. Because like I didn't think I could do it. Really,
Right.
I had no faith in myself whatsoever. And so every year on Christmas, I give her my chip that year.
How cool is that?
You know, I was able to actually follow through with that, even though I had no intention of when I made that promise.
Hey, you know what program helped me? Is the LDSARP program.
Yeah.
They don't give chips.
Oh.
I never had a chip, and I got 6 years on the 11th of this month.
Well,
I'm going to write the prophet or something and tell him I needed chips.
Well, I mean,
I want back pay too. I want retro. I want 6 years.
You want 6 years of chips?
Yeah.
Well, I can help you out if you want, Heston.
Yeah. No.
I know a few people.
I know a few people. No, I'm sure I could go to any meeting and pick one up. It's been funny to watch, and I love that people get noticed and recognized and get to share,
Right.
you know, and bring hope.
It is.
That's
It
what
does. It brings hope. I mean, for me, it's just like I try not to make a huge deal out of it. You know, it's like, it's, you know, one day at a time. You know, that's how time works. That's how we're going to get this. That's how I do it. If I think about the future too much, staying sober my whole life, probably never get there. But I can stay sober today.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of day at a time. So that's what they say in a lot of the programs. And, you know, that's really helped me. But, you know, like, it is an important day. You know, it is good to celebrate it. And, you know, like I said, I made it a tradition of trying to spend every Christmas with my sister and giving her my chip. And then, you know, when I get home, you know, here, I usually, you know, pick it up at my home group meeting and celebrate it with my friends in whatever way, you know, go out to dinner, whatever, you know.
Right.
But I think it is important, you know, to celebrate those successes.
Absolutely. I love it.
But, because I mean, but the biggest one for me was...
Because one day is a miracle.
Oh, I was going to say the 24-hour chip is the biggest one there is. Because it took me like 7-8 years to get the 24-hour chip. It only took me 4 years to get a 4-year chip, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that one is the biggest for me.
For me, I would have went 25 years without getting a 24-hour chip.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's usually the longest to get, like the hardest one to get.
Yeah. And then, you know, you get your 30 and
You're
and
30,
90
you're
and
60,
6
90,
months.
6 months, 9 months, however they do. I know some places do it like monthly and stuff. Like when I was living up in Oregon, I went to a meeting that did that, where it's like every single month up to a year, which was cool. But it was kind of weird just coming from here, where it's like, oh, every month, what, you need to celebrate that much? But it's like, yeah, whatever, celebrate that much. Celebrate every day, man.
Be careful, though, when you get there to say, you know, I made it 30 days, but right then you got to kind of recognize I need to go 31.
Yeah.
I need to deal with today.
Right.
Today. And you're funny when you said that one day at a time, because my wife asked me, what are we going to do? Do you want to go on vacation in 3 months? I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing today. I don't go anywhere.
I don't know what I'm doing after this.
It drives her nuts. Poor lady is deprived of vacations with her husband. But it's because I can't plan that far ahead. I'll go insane.
Yeah. I mean, I try and make plans for the future, you know, one day at a time to build a better tomorrow.
Set goals.
Set goals and stuff like that. But it's like realistically, like, who knows how long any of us really have.
The happiest life I live is when I can actually live in the one day at a moment, one day at a time mindset.
Oh, yeah.
It
like
goes away.
Moment to moment or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's so this thing that we do at USARA is refuge recovery. It's like a Buddhist meditation path to recovery. And like I've been reading that and trying to meditate, and like that is so hard for me. Like just appreciating each moment, good and bad. It's like, you know, non-attached appreciation for both. It's like,
and be happy during them both, even when you're in pain. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's so hard. Like I sprained my foot a couple weeks ago, man. That was a rough week for me. I could barely move around, had a crutch or a cane or whatever, and people wanted to help me, and I don't like people helping me. I like helping
we
people.
all struggle with that,
like,
though, but we need to.
Yeah, I need to let people help me, but that's one of my biggest struggles today is, like, I'm strong enough. I don't need your help, but, like, realistically, like, the strongest people I know ask for help constantly, and that was the biggest moment of strength in my entire life was finally asking for help for myself.
True. So you said you brought up you, Sarah. You work there. So you work in the recovery industry.
Yeah, I have.
Help us out with that.
So I've had a number of different jobs in the recovery industry, but yeah, the current one I have is for USARA, however you want to say it. It stands for the Utah Support Advocates for Recovery Awareness. And oh yeah, man, that's like my dream job.
Someone that has a kid can call there and get direction of where if they can bring them there, or where did they go to a meeting? What's that?
Yeah, so like we offer a variety of support. Like we're all peer recovery coaches there, which is just people with lived experience, and there's a certification through the state, whatever, Utah State has their own certification, and like you go through this training and whatnot. But ultimately, it's just, you know, when I go and meet and talk to someone, you know, it's just like, look, all that really means is I've been there, I've done that. You know, I'm just here to help. I'm not here to judge or anything like that. I'm just here to help you out. You know, if you want to get connected to treatment, if you want to go to treatment, awesome. Let's get you connected to treatment.
Do you make them make the calls?
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't do anything for anyone, essentially. Like, I might look up some numbers for them and give them the list. Like, there you go.
Yeah, I have people all the time ask me, will you call my son? I'm like, no. You can give him my number.
Yeah.
Love to talk to him.
Yeah, I would love to talk to anyone, but
they need to reach out. 100%.
Yeah, so like we do a bunch of cool stuff there, man. Like we have some different meetings there, like I mentioned before, like the Refuge Recovery meeting. We have All Pathways Recovery meeting. Gonna forget all of them, but we offer a variety of them. There's AA meeting there. There's Life Ring, Smart Recovery, Strength and Safety, which is a trauma and substance abuse support group. And then we also do one-on-one peer recovery coaching where, you know, they'd meet with me or, you know, Marcy, and, you know, we'd talk to them, set their goals, see where they're at, you know, in their recovery. You know, are they a couple of years in? Are they fresh to it? Are they still using? It doesn't matter. We're going to help whoever we can help. And like, the's no requirement.
There's no judgment, though. If they come in high, it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. Like,
we're not calling the cops.
No.
We're going to help you through it, bud.
I still get scared of the cops. I'm not calling them, man. Like, I've met some cool cops in recovery, which was a trip for me, where it's like, oh, man, you just shifted my whole mindset on you guys. Like, because for so long you were the enemy, you were trying to get me. And it's like, oh, you guys are just doing your job.
It's crazy. Some of my best friends now are cops. It's the weirdest thing in the world. It's like, I used to drive everywhere and look in my rearview mirror. I'd take a right just out of paranoia. Then I'd take a left, just making sure no one's behind me, you know. But now I just get to drive down the road.
Yeah, I get to drive down the road, but I still like look in my rear view a little bit, make sure.
Police PTSD.
Like just making sure. I mean, like my license is up to date. I got insurance and everything. It's actually my car I'm driving. All this, and it's like still just. Yeah. I don't know, man. They might find something I forgot about, but yeah. Oh, and that. But yeah, I've met some really cool cops that totally kind of shifted. It was like, oh, you're a human too.
Yeah, exactly. And they are. They are 100%. Most of them are very nice people.
They are.
Very nice. Ben, we got a minute, 30 seconds. I want you to wrap up. Sharon, what would give some advice or bring some hope to someone who needs a little bit of direction or counseling?
Oof. I don't know, man.
What would you do? What would you do if you were at home listening to this radio station and you're like, I need help?
Well, I'd say call me. My phone number is 435-218-1652. I'll help out however I can, but there's a lot of people out there that's willing to help if you pick up the phone and call them. Number of great treatment centers in town. You know, go to a meeting, whatever. But most importantly, I just say is, you know what, hold on to hope, man. Like,
you're worth it.
You are worth it. Like, I know it doesn't seem like it. I know there's no reason you should hold on to hope with where you're at right now. I mean, I'm just talking to myself when I was at my lowest, man. Like, I didn't want to live. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything. But I know that times are hard. But man, you can do it. Like if you just put one foot in front of the other, I don't care how many steps backwards you take, as long as your feet are facing forward, you're headed in the right direction, and just keep going no matter what.
Yeah, and humble yourself.
Yeah.
Because the pride's got to go. You got to say, look, I'm going to listen to someone else for once in my life, and I'm not going to open my mouth. I'm just going to listen.
Yeah, right. I mean, have enough pride in yourself to say you're worth it.
Yeah, absolutely, because hopeless to hope is possible.
It is very possible.
With a capital hope. We love it. So,
for sure.
All right, well, our outro hasn't went on, so I don't know what's going on, but it's all right. We got wide orbit going up. There we are.
Oh, there we go.
So, all right, we thank you all for listening. Tune in next Monday. We'll have another guest. We'll have Ben on again, I hope. He'd be willing to. I love that. That was a good discussion.
Man, that 30 minutes went by quick. I'd love to keep talking to you. This has been awesome.
Yeah.
Just conversation, man. That's what I live for.
And bringing a little bit of hope to someone out there. Someone needed to hear your story.
Maybe it was just me and you. Who knows?
Yes. Yeah, that's what I say to my wife. It could have been just me and them needed help.
Yep.
All right, buddy.
All right. Thanks,
See you
Heston.
guys.